Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Viking Chats podcast. I'm delighted to be joined today by Nicola and Paul Broomham. Hi, guys.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Now, world global first. I've got them both on the same podcast together. So there we go. Let chaos ensue. So, guys, for those not familiar with the two of you, I think it's fair to say, Nick, you've probably got a slightly more higher profile within the industry.
Yep.
Although Paul has had some very senior roles, I think, in terms of,
I'm certainly louder.
personalities out there.
Yeah.
So for those who aren't familiar with each of you, can you both give us a little bit of a intro of who you are?
Yeah, no problem. So Nicola Broomham. I originally started my career in lettings. It's my background.
All the best people do.
Which is where I met Paul, because Paul was my boss. So, but anyway, less said about that. It's been all the better.
HR.
And then basically had kids and took a load of time out of the industry. Became a bit of a consultant actually for some of our local agents, and I found that the bit of my job that I liked the most as a consultant was the people piece. And somebody said to me, "Look, you know, what if you can't get back into lettings?" Because I couldn't, because it just didn't work around kids and school and all that stuff. Why don't you become a recruiter? So I did, and that worked really well actually, and I really enjoyed it, and I loved what I was doing. And then very quickly I set up my own business, Broomham Recruitment, which
So when was that? Was that like
it was January 2020.
Oh, more recent than I thought.
Yeah, January 2020.
So a lot has happened in the last 6 years for you.
Well, yeah, it was 6 weeks before we went into lockdown as well. So
yeah, we launched Depository 2 weeks before lockdown. Yay.
Yeah. I picked up the keys to the new office in about 2 members of staff.
That was the last time you saw it for 6 months.
Yeah, so I did work as a recruiter before that, but then set up the business in January 2020. Business went mental during COVID because we just were everywhere, all over socials, which, to be honest, is kind of how I grew that business.
Yeah.
Is through socials. Came out of there, grew it. I got approached by Devil Smith, and that was just after we'd won EA Masters for the second time, Supplier of the Year.
Was that 23? 24.
What was that? We won gold in 2020. Or gold in 2021, I think. No, gold in 2020 because it was in the middle of COVID, because we couldn't go to the event. We got announced.
You won gold the year you launched. That's impressive.
Yeah. Small Supplier of the Year, we won gold that year. And then the following year, 2021, we won joint bronze with Stephen Brown. Yeah, Stephen Brown. And then Andrew Devil Smith came up to me at the awards and said, "Look, Nicola, I think we'd be better working together than separately." And he just got me at a point when, to be honest, I'd really fallen out of love and I was finding it really tricky. And then I sold the business the following year. So sold it to him, worked with him for 3 years, left last January, and have relaunched a new business this year.
Cool. And we will talk about more of the new business soon. So, Paul, likewise, I mean, you're up until very recently, you were very much boots on the ground front line.
Yeah, to a degree. So I stumbled into a state agency. Absolutely.
I think Megan is the only person I've ever met. Apart from our dear Jakob as well, the Scandi guy who I've never seen prepare for a career in agency more than he has. But I think they're the only two people I've met who had a very definitive career plan of, I'm going to be an estate agent.
Well, I was on a gap year, raised a few quid before going off to uni, and sort of stumbled into it in the January and never looked back. By the time
did you still go to uni?
No, I'm still on my gap year.
Yeah.
So, but no, by the time I'd done 6 months in a estate agency, I was earning commission, I had a company car, I was going to visit my mates at uni at the weekend, and it was like, I think this is as good as it gets. Yeah. So I started my career with Romans when it was pre-LRG. I worked there for 11 years, I think it was.
Now, Romans was Ian White, right?
Dale.
Dale,
Peter Coles, Ian White. So yeah, I worked alongside Ian for quite a while when I was regional lettings director.
Ian was sales south.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like area director. You were lettings. area director. So they both.
Nice. So you were, kind of on par.
Yeah.
So left Romans, went and joined a much smaller company in Newbury called Jones Robinson.
Yeah.
I did about 7 years there working with Charles and the team, and was brought in to run the lettings business. So we did, because of my experience at Romans with acquisitions, buying the smaller companies, bringing them into the fold and onboarding the teams and the clients and the properties. I went over to join Charles at JR, and we did a few there. So went on a bit of a growth.
And they're a great
growth
business.
mission.
We've worked with them for years.
Brilliant business.
Really,
Absolutely brilliant business. They've got what they do. They've got the customer at the heart of everything. And there are so many agents that forget that now. So, old fashioned in some ways, but very proactive and forward thinking in others. But fundamentally a good business that cares about its people and the clients. Left there and went to join a company called Alexander & Co. We rebranded that. So that was Alexander & Co. We had 6 or 7 brands when I took ownership.
It then became the & Co group.
So
we kind of all encompassing.
We rebranded all of the existing businesses and all acquisitions that we did into Alexander & Co. And then we bought a company called Peter Ball & Co. in Cheltenham. So that led logically to call the parent company the & Co group. We launched financial services, got more acquisitions than I can remember there. And then it must have been about.
Did you leave before LRG acquired it?
Yeah. So about 3.5 years ago, I was approached to go and run the South Coast for Lomond, and it was one of those do I don't I moments. And we took the view that as a family, this was sort of like the move that if we don't do it, I'd always regret it. And
are you living down south already, or was that or did you aspire to live down south, or the geography was largely irrelevant?
I guess
kind of.
The reality was we were. It was a 2.5 hour drive for me to get down to the coast where I was based, either Brighton, Worthing offices, and so I was staying down there for 3 or 4 nights a week. You were going into London with DS, and it just didn't work. It was just too far. So we sold up, bought a new house, did all of that in 8 weeks,
and moved down.
Moved
down south.
Moved down. Yeah, we're not that far south though, are we now? We're Southern Sussex border.
But we're near family now.
So you've got that support.
Yeah, it was just the most stressful time ever, and I think it was one of the catalysts to why I got ill. As well. So it was a lot.
Stress.
It was a lot of
stress.
Trying to.
A lot of damage.
Yeah, it's the most horrendous thing ever. And I swear, because it was only 6 weeks after we moved, I suddenly literally overnight got ill.
Jesus.
And it's got to be that, trying to get kids into new schools with no spaces, having to go through the appeal process, selling to a guy who was moving from Singapore as a cash buyer that wasn't.
Oh, yeah, I would love that.
Paul was down south Monday to Friday. I was going to London 3 days a week. It was
Carnage.
Absolute nightmare. But it turned out to actually be in lots of ways, one of the best things we've ever done.
You just had to get through it.
We just had to get through it because we've been there now 3 years this month, isn't it?
Yeah, coming up. There's 3 years in July, August. So it's been hard work. A hell of a lot has changed in those 3 years. But actually, looking back, the kids are now happier.
Settled.
The kids are settled. They've grown up. They've got more friends. We live in a village outside of East Grinstead, but there's buses. They can walk to school. Our previous life was literally in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
They couldn't go anywhere without
mum,
dad's taxis,
which again is
picking them up.
There was a bus once a week, and I'm not exaggerating. There was once.
Oh my God! A few years ago, I moved my mum to Newent, and went down. We had to we bought this property hadn't been lived in for 20 years, so I had to sort it out before she moved in. And I naively kind of potted down there, got a train, got a taxi, blah blah blah. And I was like, I'll get a bus. I'll get a bus back to Gloucester to get the train back to London. And like I said, got to the bus stop at 4 in the afternoon. It was like, last bus today, 2:30.
I know.
And then walked into 3 different pubs to be like, does anyone know a taxi firm? I got looked at like I just called the pub landlord a slag. I was like, I got the weirdest looks ever. I was like, taxis have been around a while. I'm not asking. It wasn't even like an Uber. It's like, anyone got a taxi?
No, it's hard. But I think doing that move was the best thing. And I think career-wise for you, joining private equity taught you loads as well.
Yeah, loads. I mean, it's a different world. It's an absolutely different world to anything I've been involved in before. So from a career point of view, that's another great thing to have sort of ticked off, have it under my belt type thing. But after 2.5 years, something clicked in me and I thought, right, unless I go and do something, or we go and do something, which was more.
Well, you've done that senior management role quite a few times there then. I mean, I feel like there's only so many times you can keep applying that same knowledge and stuff before for you, like great for the businesses you come into, but for you, it becomes a bit rinse and repeat,
I think that whole, don't get me wrong, Lomond are a phenomenal business, but it was very different going from a privately owned, large, independent estate agent group, where I had, complete autonomy. If you want to go and do this, have a look at this deal. What do you think? Price it, structure it. I never got turned down by the board because there was a huge amount of trust there. The private equity element is just different.
It's all process.
It's so much process, and I felt I was losing my autonomy in what was ultimately a more senior role. Bigger teams, more offices, more people that I was looking after, and I kind of lost my passion for it a little bit. Love agency, sales, lettings, property management. To me, it's just one big family. I absolutely adore that side of things. But I'm not the right person to go and set up my own estate agency.
There's front of line agency, right?
Yeah.
And there's just the business part of it.
Yeah, I think
with private equity, that's the point. It could be any business. It could be a plumbers and estate agents and toy supply company. Their view is number, balance sheet, process, ins and outs. And I think that's the thing. If you're passionate about an industry. And I think it's one of the things I think we failed to grasp as an industry when we often go, oh, so-and-so's appointed a CEO who's got no background in agency. Yeah, because that's not how it works in a PLC or private equity. They're not there to know what the Renters' Rights Act means or what the Property Misdescriptions Act does. They're just there to...
it's different business. But there was a huge, huge growth at Lomond. And I think...
it's insane. You guys are buying business like every 2 weeks. For like 2 years. I mean, that is
huge amount.
And there must have been obviously also ones that didn't quite work out. So, there must have been deals in there that were being bounced and feathered and getting part of the way into due diligence. And then, oh my God.
I mean, that's the process. You learn so much from a business once you get into that due diligence process. But also, it's not always about the buyer putting out the seller's change. Change your heart. Actually, I thought I was ready for this. I'm not. Mentally ready rather than structure of the business ready. But the number that didn't go ahead that could have done, and probably still in the pipeline. There's all of that, but the deals were just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as well to create more hubs and spokes and regions, etc. So we went to Vietnam, didn't we? And
we went to Vietnam last summer. It's amazing. If you've never been, go. It's just...
I haven't done Vietnam. I live Singapore, so we did Thailand, Indonesia, Bali, all that sort of stuff, Malaysia growing up.
Nice.
But didn't do Vietnam. But I've had loads of friends who,
It was amazing. And it's, what we did was it really made us think about those existential life questions of what the fuck are you doing? Just checking.
We have met before.
I know. I suddenly thought, oh God.
If in doubt, I tick explicit content on every single episode because I'm like, I can't remember if we swore, but the likelihood is I probably did at least once. Swearing is perfectly acceptable on the Viking podcast.
Well, we were at the middle of nowhere in this like sort of jungle retreat, and we were just sort of we were having these snippets of conversations, and we were like, hang on a second, what are we doing? We've got an opportunity here because of him joining the business he went to and us having a little bit of money in the bank to actually just go, do you know what? We're both early 40s. Fuck, just give it a go, right?
Yeah.
Worst that happens.
That's it. You're settled. Kids are secure. The big things are ticked.
Yeah. So
if not now, when?
Exactly that. exactly that. You know, Paul's 45, was 45. How old are you?
46 now, too old, too old.
The age of the best people in the
Yeah,
industry.
He was 45 at the point we had the conversation. And it was like, hang on a second, you know, you're going to work for another 15 years-ish, give or take. That's what you want to do, if not less. So let's just do it. Let's just try it. And if it doesn't work out, do you know what? We go and work in Tesco's, or you can go and get another job as an MD, or I'll go.
Well, that's it. You've still got that track record. Like, you know, the industry's always going to need people who know their shit. So
Exactly. So we are now 6 months into 2point0 group. And it's going all right, actually.
Yeah.
It's going all right. I mean,
So what's it like doing that journey? Because we had a little chat before we hopped on camera, and I was saying, I remember you and I having a little chat, not a million miles after you sold Broomham, or, you know, you'd done the acquisition with Broomham. I think it was a few months later.
Yeah.
And all the dust had settled, you know, and I don't think it was a particularly long and in-depth conversation that we had, but you were quite succinct to going, maybe running my own business maybe isn't my own bag. Like, it just that wasn't fun.
Yeah.
But like you said, you know, you launched a business in COVID year.
I did. I did.
You know, with everything else, and as you said, you know, you've given context of real life circumstance as well. So you layer all of that on, and at the time, you probably attribute that to this is what's involved with running a business, and that's not necessarily the case. So what's in that kind of 2-3 year window, roughly?
Yeah.
At 3 years. What do you think has kind of shifted you from, oh, maybe this isn't my bag, to actually, come on, let's do this. Let's have a crack at this, because if not now, when?
One of the main reasons is that I genuinely think I'm unemployable. So
Absolutely.
I think I realised very quickly, because of course part of selling my old business, you know, I sold the rights to the name and every part of that. So I don't even know if I'm technically allowed to mention it, but hey ho, let's see how it happens. So, but joining a much bigger business, and then despite going in to launch that business nationally, what I soon realised was that the way that I like to do things is not the way that other people like to do things.
I mean, again, a bit like the kind of private equity experience, right? You'd gone from a more independent thing of your own and before, and then into an established big business.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be a member of the Property Academy.
Yeah.
I'm again now. Sorry, Leaders Inc.
Leaders Inc. Yes, indeed.
And I brought up the subject to my group before I sold the business of, I've got this offer on the table, what should I do? And I remember Peter Knight saying to me, go and do it, go and learn everything you can possibly learn, and then just do it again, but do it better.
Yeah.
And for so I had a 3-year earn-out, and pretty much during that 3-year earn-out, all I kept thinking about and moaning to him about was, this is what's happened, this is what I'm learning, these are relationships I'm building, because of course it was a very different marketplace, etc. But all the time thinking, oh, you know, maybe I shouldn't have sold it, maybe I should be doing this. And I was moaning to you all the time, wasn't I?
But then you wouldn't have had those lessons if you had sold it. So
yeah, and I learned loads, absolutely loads. And the reality was that, you know, I left the month my earnout finished.
Yeah.
Due to a number of factors, including me being very unwell.
Yeah.
I'm much better now, and all of that is great. But at the time I was not in a good place, and I took pretty much a year out last year to make sure I was back to me again.
Which again, really important. Things that a lot of people struggle, even when it's serious.
I had no idea.
Being able to step away, to give yourself that space.
If you have an opportunity in your life ever to step away for a bit, just do it. If you've got the opportunity to have a sabbatical, to, you know, anything like that, like, the value of that time is massive, because you did that as well. You stepped away in the October, and we didn't launch the business till the January. And those 2.5 months.
It was 2.5 months. We were
planning tinkering, but
we were planning to launch in December.
But we postponed it.
But I realised sort of probably 4 weeks into having some time off, quite how much I needed it.
Yeah.
You know, and
And also, Russia, enjoy Christmas, enjoy New Year, and into
enjoy.
New Year.
Absolutely.
Most businesses are not avidly looking to recruit or reopen their business in the last 2 weeks of December.
Not at all.
You know, so very wise move.
But
But no, I think I remember reading a book a few years ago, and it was about someone who'd been a career whatever, and they basically had a semi-nervous breakdown at work. So I don't know, I'm gesturing at you like that's what you had. You're something different. And like you, no. But they basically, like a lot of professionals, properly burnt themselves out, and then they ended up just basically going traveling for a year with wife and kids. Like pulled the kids out, boarding school,
Yeah, nice.
went off, and they came back, and it transformed their entire lives. Like, everything changed.
Yeah.
Totally get it. I totally get it. If I hadn't have taken last year, so just in a very quick summary. So basically, I have an autoimmune disease that affects my muscles and my skin. It's really rare. Doesn't happen.
Sounds fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, at one point last year, I struggled to walk upstairs, couldn't lift the kettle.
I mean, muscles and skin, they don't make up much of your body.
Not really.
So
Not really.
isn't skin the largest organ?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
It is. So, but it just came out of nowhere.
Jesus.
And then I've been seeing loads and loads of super duper specialists, and I'm now on this concoction of medication that has made me back to normal.
And that was all kind of stress triggered.
There's no triggers it. They
you
got
don't
no
know.
idea.
But there's no history of it in the family or
No. And stress is a major cause of autoimmune. So yeah, they think so. And it's something now moving forward we are acutely aware of. So in answer to your question, which has been a really long way of answering, I also realised what my limitations were. And both in terms of the work that I enjoy, the work I'm capable of, but like my own physical limitations too. And so when we talked about launching a business again, it wasn't, whilst the idea had been sort of like, going around my head for 3 years,
the thought of doing it by yourself.
there was no way I was going to do it. And so when Paul said, actually, we can do something together, do you know what? I hate finance. I hate dealing with anything tax related. Anything to do with invoicing on money, just not my bag. Paul loves that.
Yeah. I think love's a bit far-fetched, but happy to do it.
He has a very particular set of skills.
I have an oyster set. It's like that.
And it's not rescuing abducted children, it's running the books.
That's it. And I understand a P&L account.
I mean, look, in a not dissimilar fashion, when I originally came up with the idea of Base and then started talking to Anne about it, it was going to be my business and was going to be my first employee. Thank fuck she had the common sense to sit around and be like, hold on, you've done this job for a year, I've been in it for 7.
Yeah.
Maybe we do this together. But God sent, because like you said, Anne is good at all the stuff I'm not, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, double checking the contracts and all the account ledgers and all that sort of...
I think you kind of learn where you're both good in that situation. It's marketing. I've had very little involvement in anything marketing over the last sort of 3 years, whereas that is totally your bag. It gets you excited, you love doing it, and you run with it, which is partly why you've got such a big social media.
Well, I was about to say that in reality, your career is way more successful than mine. Paul's is, but people just don't know about you because you don't talk about it.
No.
Whereas I'm like all over LinkedIn with here's a video of me walking the dogs. And the other thing, here's another photo of me. I'm going to talk about me. Whereas you don't do any of that. So it's. I think I'm just louder.
What's that like?
So, but you have your own thing. So my hair is obviously very much me. Whereas, you just look like a 45-year-old bloke.
Yeah, I have grown my hair back. So, that's a big positive. That was the benefit.
Just
take
looks
some
like
time out.
45-year-old bloke. Now, if those aren't the words of true love, I don't know what it is.
I love it, Jenny.
Yeah.
So it's about using our skills and knowing what our limitations are. And there's no way, in answer to your question, I would have done it on my own. So here we are, and we're doing our own thing, but we're very much in our own lanes. I do recruitment, Paul does business consultancy, advisory, mentor.
Consultancy,
yeah.
I just in case there's anyone that listens to this that doesn't know yet, I made the first recruitment placement of the business. So just to make sure everyone's aware of that.
You say this to everybody all the time, like it's that big a deal. Come on.
It is to me.
It is.
But no, you're right. You're right. We started off and it was very much, let's build this initially based on what you're good at, what you're known for. We spent most of December learning.
You've got to, right? You've got to lean into your strengths, lean into things that you're comfortable at, and then figure out how you manage the stuff you're not.
Absolutely. And so we, literally threw ourselves into that. And very quickly, 2 months, I was picking up consultancy clients. I was working with individuals, companies, and we naturally, stuck in our lanes.
Yeah.
But they interweave.
Oh,
yeah, of course, they will.
On purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, we called it 2.0 Group because I could call it my old business name.
Yeah.
But everyone would phone me and go, so Nicola, when are you going to set up Broomham Recruitment
2.0?
And I was like, fuck it, I'll just call it 2.0. Yeah. So we did.
But it's a great name because it's also, why most businesses will come to you is because they're on that kind of journey of what's next for them. What's the reimagined version of that business or that director's or owner's objective or, whatever it is. So
yeah, that was the plan. So it's kind of like multifaceted as I like to look at it, but they intertwine and they overlap and all the rest of it. But we're finding our way now. We're 6 months in. And
is it still just you two?
At the moment?
Yeah.
Yep.
At the moment.
It feels like that's on the precipice of
yeah. Well, we went into this saying this is going to be more lifestyle than world domination.
As if we're lifestyle.
we knew, but we were just lying to each other over that. And it's kind of got to the stage where we either scale back a little bit, because we're too busy at the moment for two of us, or we roll the dice and go again. And so,
but I mean, also you've still got layers in between that, right? You've still got like VAs that you can slot in to take admin off your desk, or getting a good bit of AI just to slot in to deal with the messy bits in between.
Totally.
I think that's the exciting thing now, is that and it doesn't limit the business either. I keep reading these amazing stories about people who've built like multi-million-pound generation businesses, and it's one or two people in the business, and then it's a bit of AI, a bit of VAs, and a bit of outsourcing, and they still get to do what they want to do. They're still building a serious business.
Well, you've got to value your worth as well. Yeah. The reality is Nicola's a bloody good recruiter, very well connected. To have you running, doing the VAT return or, I don't know, reconciling the bank account is a total waste of your time and ability.
Yeah.
We're at the point where
things as well.
Yeah. But now that's, the accountant's taken on more to actually go and deal with that, because although I can do it and I like to keep an eye on it, I quite like to make sure that the money reconciles, and
rather somebody else do the next question, you just go, yes, that's right.
I like to keep an eye on it. But we've both done that realization of, hold on, why am I doing this when we could outsource, we could utilize AI to do it, the VA element, all of that pulled together. You've just got to find what you're really good at, and as a business, where you can add the most value.
Well, I think you've also got to be careful about just not being busy, right? It's something Dan and I talk about quite a bit when we kind of constantly have discussions around, what's next for Base? Where are we going, particularly with Base? Depository's got more of a kind of intentional roadmap, I would say, but Base has kind of been more of an organic business in that respect. And we've just kind of bumbled along a bit strategically. We've kind of gone with where the market's gone. But I think there's as a founder, you can get really tied up with being busy and assigning value to being busy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm doing this and I'm working flat out like 4 of the 5 days a week. I'm doing stuff and getting stuff done. Mm-hmm. And then it's really interesting. We talk about, what if we had a part-time person do that, or we outsource that? And it's something, no, because I'm really good at that, and I do that really well. And it's like, great, but we could pay them a quarter of what we pay you to do it, and they would do the job, and then that would free you up.
Yeah.
A day a week, 2 days a week, to, as as we've alluded to, either do something else within the business or take a day off work.
Yeah.
Work a 4-day week, work a 3-day week. And this is the other conversation we've got, because Anne's wife, Diana, is quite a few years older than her. So there's very much considerations about, what that looks like, and, what that future, spending time with those that are important to us. So yeah, I think there's lots of really interesting conversations around that. And I think it's a really interesting time in terms of business, because I think there are quite a lot of options now.
Yeah.
In terms of how you can choose to kind of piece a business together, regardless of what your aspirations are, to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think that there are other ways than just traditionally hiring somebody in. The challenge that we have in what we do is that, because I do the recruitment piece, it's so personal and it's so human centric. It's very difficult to outsource that bit. And it's also very difficult to bring people in that are the same as you, do what you do in the same way you do it. And it was always a challenge I had previously, was finding people that aligned in the right way. And of course, with you doing consultancy, it's really, they're literally buying you.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to train 25 years of experience.
So therefore, you've got to think about like maximizing your time. One of the things we are really seriously looking at is another string to the bow of what 2.0 means for businesses, and 2.0, what taking a business to its 2.0 is. And we're in conversations at the moment about something which is very exciting, which is why Paul and I gave each other a look when you asked, because it's like, ooh, but it's all very hush hush. But it's,
well, I mean, you hinted that he learned a lot with private equity, so there we go.
he did. But it's I don't know at the moment what we're going to do. I mean, we talk about this a lot, and Paul tends to bring it up when we've had like 2 glasses of wine on a Friday night, knowing that
oh yeah, that's me. Yeah.
I'm trying to watch, whatever it is we're watching.
Whereas I told you guys at 9 o'clock this morning, 2 minutes before I left the door, my wife wanted to have an existential chat about life choices. And
well, Paul will be
thanks, babes.
What's the plan? Are we scaling this? Are we growing this? Are we doing whatever? I'm like,
I want decisions.
I'm in the middle of watching Ted Lasso for the 3rd time. Leave me alone. But you do tend to bring it up right when you know that I'm in the middle of doing something, because your brains constantly go, and I have to pull you off your laptop at 9 o'clock. Where one thing I did learn very quickly last year is when to go, you know what? I finished for the day. So
I do long hours. Anne and I do long hours in the office, but I've learned, for me, working from home, no. I mean, we have a home where I can't properly, you can't get privacy in our home. We live in like a 2-story kind of warehousey kind of thing. It's all semi-open plan. There is, you don't escape. Most of the time it's cool. There is no separation for kids and wife and everything else. There is no private escape.
Okay.
So that, combined with the fact I'm not the most disciplined person at home, I've just the amount of times in the first 10 years we had the business where I was like, right, I'm going to go home and I'll have a quick bite to eat, and I'm going to sit down my laptop and bum, and in an hour or 2 I'll get this done. And I put it off, and midnight would roll around and be like, oh, it's a bit late to do it now.
That is really.
Or I'd start and be like, oh, well, I don't have that file. I have to leave it. And that only happens so many times now where I'm just like, no. Like Hayley will sometimes be like, I know you're stressed about work. Do you want to get your laptop out? And I'm like, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. If I start something, I need to finish it.
You are so disciplined. But also, I think, so you've probably realised this more, really realised this in the last few months. I think I almost do my entire job off my mobile.
Yeah.
I don't actually need my laptop. I spent like 3 hours yesterday afternoon on the phone to a professional looking for a new role, and then was phoning through all of these people going, right, I've got this person who's got this incredible experience. And I came back upstairs and you were like, oh, okay, well, what have you been doing? Like,
just like that.
Like, sort of like, no, but it gave me this sort of look as if to go, oh, have you been like, putting the washing out, doing the kids' tea or whatever? And I'm like, no, I've been doing deals now. But I can do it anywhere.
But no, I get that. I mean, like it's my role, particularly with depository as well. Again, very similar thing. It's a lot of it is about relationships, whether it's our partners, our developers, or prospective clients.
Absolutely.
A lot of it is talking and chatting and social media and events. And you know, like Anne and I will occasionally have conversations. She'll be like, "How many emails have you sent today?" Because I've sent, blah, 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 and I'll be like, "Let's not go there."
It's irrelevant.
Let's not look at emails.
No, it's interesting. But I mean, the thing we haven't touched on actually is the whole women in.
Yes.
So
let's talk about that.
I haven't done anything on it yet. I haven't picked anything up. You know, you had Ellie Rees on your sofa a little while ago. Ellie was talking about that and everything involved with her thoughts. And Ellie is a very, very, very good friend of mine. And yours.
She's a wilting wallflower. I mean, I really wish she'd hop off the fence and actually say what she fucking means. Once
Yeah,
in a
I
while,
know. Honestly, yeah.
We live and breathe and dream. One day, Ellie. One day.
One day.
I don't think I've ever met anyone who looks through your soul as quickly as Ellie does.
It's very true. Very true. But she's been going on at me for ages about trying to do something and start something up again. And I don't know, but it is one of the things that I'm kind of, I guess I'm known for, I suppose, in this industry because of women in residential property.
Yeah.
And just everything I did before, is my sort of passion for women in the sector.
So
Diverse.
rather than talk about organisations, like if you could change one thing for women in property tomorrow, what would it be? You walked into that one.
I did walk into that one. Whoa, that's a big...
I don't know, it's a big one.
Do you know what? I would really, if I could change one thing, I would like shared maternity and paternity leave as standard.
Like the Norwegians, is it Norwegian or Sweden that's got that?
Yeah.
Substantial joint.
JLL do it as well, don't they?
I'm not quite certain on the detail of the package and how it works, but the paternity leave is second to none.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Absolutely second.
So, some of the business in our industries are really switched on.
They are, some are learning.
Some are learning. But I truly believe that...
I mean, wage parity is still shocking.
It is, but I think a lot of
positions are still poor.
I think if we were to deal with this maternity issue, then actually it would have a knock-on effect to so many other parts of it. Because actually, if for example, let's say you could have taken maternity leave or paternity leave, but all three of our children and taken that year off with them, and I'd have stayed in my job as a lettings director, which is what I was. Our lives would be very different.
Yeah, very different.
So I just, and that pay disparity, I don't know if that would be an issue. And I don't know if, whatever would be. But in answer to your question, that would be my one thing.
Interesting. That's
pretty cool.
And I'm just a big fan of it, a big supporter of trying.
I think the interesting thing with that is fundamentally it's something that could happen actually really quite easily.
Really easily.
But companies could wake up tomorrow and be like, do you know what? Next, right.
Yeah. Just make it equal.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on it. So I haven't done a lot in that sector for a while, in terms of that side of stuff, but that is one big thing. Have you seen the whole dad shift and things like that? If you've not seen that, I would highly recommend looking up dad shift.
Dad shift? No, I haven't seen that one. I mean, I'm members of quite a few kind of like dad Facebooky group things that always talk about that and parental self-worth and
this is
dad in the home and perception of who does what.
Well, this was a bunch of guys who attached babies like dolls in slings to all of the male statues around London, and used it as a way to demonstrate that dads are also just as important as mums with and it was all relates to all of this kind of stuff. So my one thing, equal rights for maternity and paternity.
Yeah.
So there we go. I think in terms of moving forward with 2.0, we don't really know what the next year is going to be.
Well, there's some surprise new phantom phase.
We do know, but
do know.
But they might have announced by the time this goes out in about 3 weeks' time. So
no, not that soon. Not that soon. It'll be towards the end of the year. But it's I think for us, we're 6 months in, we're finding our feet. The industry's been amazing at kind of welcoming me back and
Yeah.
bringing you in as a
Yeah,
in a very different
definitely.
fold. Because that was always a bit of a worry, you know. You come back after being out of it for a while, and you're a bit like, oh God, is anyone gonna?
Yeah.
It's me.
Always everyone going to be like, oh,
Yeah,
back again.
yeah. You sold out.
Oh, now we're worthy of your time again, are you?
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
So
It's,
you've heard a couple. I've heard a couple of like nothing ever like particularly venomous, but like I've heard comments said about that about various people, not you specifically, but about people who kind of do an exit, whether they're a supplier, an agency, and then they kind of disappear for 6 to 12 months, having been a very prominent voice, and then all of a sudden they reappear, and it's like, oh, someone's starting a new business, or someone's.
yeah.
I think the reality is you would have carried on with women in residential property if you weren't having to take a year out.
Yeah.
Your voice, you would have kept going with that for another 6
But I would
months.
kept going with Devil's Hair.
No. And it was you needed that cutoff, that almost that line in the sand to go, right, I'm gonna down tools.
Yeah.
The social media element.
Proper unplugged.
Stop, to a degree.
I did some painting.
You did some painting. We have the most amazing vegetable patch in the garden. But that was really, really important for you to find yourself.
Yeah.
And it's helped you get better. I think the industry has welcomed you, me, with open arms, because actually we're a little bit different coming back into it. There's quite a lot, your social media following, your ability to speak.
But you've both shifted positions slightly as well.
Oh,
and I think it's
slightly.
There's not, but I think from a probably to you it feels a lot bigger. But I think from an external perspective point of view, it doesn't look necessarily like a massive shift. But I think there's always something nice to see when you see a couple do something together. It doesn't happen a lot. There's not a lot of couples that can pull it off.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite exciting and quite, I think it's always nice to see that togetherness.
Yeah.
We've been together for 20 years. So 20 years this year.
Yep.
In fact, next week, we've been together for 20. No,
we've been married for
18 years next week. Been together for 20.
Oh, so you guys didn't hang around?
No, 2.5 years. And we got married.
He asked me to marry him after 6 months.
So Hayley and I got engaged after 6 months, and then we're engaged for 10 years.
2 years, and that was because we had.
I had to work on Hayley's idea of what she wanted as a wedding. So it started off wanting to be a winter castle wedding with swans and fireworks, and I was like, that sounds fabulous, darling. My idea was a summer wedding that felt like a hippie festival. So, after 9 years, I got the castle to the festival, and we got married.
There we go.
That's it.
There we go.
Well, then she hasn't forgotten it, because we've been together 26 years.
Okay.
So we were talking kind of, we should start thinking about what we do for our 30 years / marry 20.
Yeah.
And she was like, so I still haven't forgotten about the castle,
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. We did we were a very, very small wedding, weren't we? In little Somerset. But 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a business later. So, and at the moment, we're going all right. We haven't killed each other yet, but there is still plenty of time.
give it time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having
This has been lovely.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thanks for joining us. If you want to find out more about their fabulous company 2.0 and what it can do for your business, what's the website?
2.0group.co.uk.
And is that point the word?
Yeah. Number 2, word point, number 0,
Group.co.uk.
group.co.uk.
There we go. So find out more, and we all wait with tenterhooks to see what the surprise phase is towards the end of the year. World domination, no doubt. Guys, thanks for joining us. Tune in soon, guys. Bye.